Welcome back, everyone. This is Mr. Brain, your friendly neighborhood gaming dad, here with another video about Island Raid, and specifically a question I got immediately after my last Island Raid. It's been a couple of days now, and I've had a couple of people ask me this question, but I'd like to give a shout out to ResQ9109 for asking the question specifically. Now, I gave that user the too long didn't read version of it, but I'd like to go ahead and expand on my opinion for this particular question. And the question basically being what troop you should be focusing on. What is the best troop? And there's a lot of nuance with the answer to that question, in my opinion. Now, ultimately, it comes down to personal preference. If you like playing a defensive character, you should probably be leaning towards infantry. If you prefer hit and run tactics, riders are your best friend. If you want a heavy hitting offensive type troop, ranged gives that for you. If you're trying to play Farmville, then you can go play another game. No, you have cars for that. But outside of that, it also does come down to whether or not you're willing to spend on this game or not. And I'll explain my reasoning for that. With this game, if you're spending, you're going to be able to upgrade all of your troops. And you're going to be in charge of rallies, you're going to be in charge of garrisons, so you'll have all of these troop types equally. Now, you might be better in one area than another, and I'll explain what you should probably be doing with yours in a little bit, but I wanted to focus the first part of this video on the free-to-play or low spenders. And for those of you that want to be that heavy-hitting free-to-play unit, in my opinion, I don't think that's the best way to go. For the lower rank or lower might players in the Alliance, they can only get one good troop type compared to a whale. What I mean by that is you're going to get to tier 5 first with one troop type. And it's best to get to one troop type at tier 5 as quickly as possible, as opposed to leveling up everything equally. Now, if you're asking me what I think is the most useful troop type, it's infantry. Defense needs to be ready to fight at all times. So having all of your members, or at least most of your members, having a focus in getting those tier 5 troops or tier 4 troops if you're still earlier on in the game onto the field, into towers, into garrisons of shelters, or into villages. Speaking primarily for Island Raid, if you've got 25, 30, 35 members that have tier 5 against 6 whales, they're still going to have a hard time. Is it impossible to beat you? Absolutely not. But they're going to have a much harder time breaking you if you have just an overwhelming number of infantry to break through. Now, garrisons, and I say that because defending is a lot harder than attacking for one main reason alone. You can coordinate your attacks. You can plan with your alliance mates, you can plan with your allies, and you can work together on an exact time for everyone that has that particular troop type to be online and ready to attack. Defense does not have that luxury. They can guess. So you need to be prepared to have infantry in towers at any time. Because even if half of your alliance isn't on, you still need to be able to hold up a defense. And having as many of the highest tier infantry in towers as you can is the best way to do that. Now, on the flip side of that, your whales should be focusing on either riders or range. And having a healthy mix of both is the way to go with that. Because like I said before, your whales are going to be controlling offense, and you can coordinate that. There are whales in this game like Pickle, Envy, Captain Lugia, who have just an insane amount of troops at their disposal. And if there are 2 rallies going and they pick the best equipped one for a rally, it's very easy for those whales to switch out troops as necessary in order to keep that rally going. So making sure that the tier 5 and tier 6 troops are capable of filling those rallies from the whales specifically is going to make that offense far more effective, in my opinion. Now, I do say ranged as well as riders now, because with Chun Carry, that gives them a more viable option on the field that they didn't have before. Before Chun and Carry came along, for some reason, ranged was just dying against infantry on a garrison, and riders were doing far better. With Bella Sven on rallies, doing phenomenal and still doing fairly well today. Chun Carry gives another option against Thunders if the gear is comparable, of course. And I know there's going to be some people that don't agree with me on that, and I understand. But you have options for ranged and rider rallies now. So having a healthy mix of both to be able to go up against whatever you run into on a tower would be most effective, in my opinion. And you can coordinate who's going to be rallying, or if you're going to be running multiple rallies, because you do have 2 troop types at your disposal. And eventually, your lower members will be able to catch up and bring tier 5 to the field for you. But making sure that your whales are prepared to fight with their best troops, in my opinion, is better than having them prepared to fight on garrisons. You have a bunch of other people to handle that. With that, I just wanted to make a short video for you on my opinions on what troop types you should be focusing on. If there's anything that I need to go over in more detail, please let me know. I know I didn't do much for this video, but hopefully you can forgive me for that. I just wanted to ramble a little bit about this question. Again, thank you, ResQ9109, for the question. And if anyone else has any content ideas or questions about this video or any others, please leave them in the comments below. This is Mr. Brain, your friendly neighborhood gaming dad, signing off.